Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. I'm your host, Didi. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Please hit the like button on your way in. That goes a long way. As I always say, I really appreciate it. Here, let me go ahead and say here just the beginning of the video so that I don't waste anyone's time. My original plan was for this video to be an actual interview with the gentleman that I came across who shared some his military background and specifically in Psyops and why it is that he went originally with Andrew Wilson's position and changed over to our position, in questioning certain things. I'm a bit surprised that with that sort of background, he didn't see it before. However, I did communicate with the gentleman, and he shared with me that he was not comfortable as of yet with coming on the show, coming on camera and discussing some things. So I respect that absolutely. And it appeared that he already knew who I was. So I respect that 100%. The hope and the plan is to convince him to come on here in the near future. So for this episode, it's a lot of things I want to get through in a short period of time, but I also want to find some time later in the video to react to at least the beginning part of this gentleman's YouTube video. Many of you all have already saw the video. It went absolutely bonkers. I caught it at the very beginning, and I proved that I caught it at the very beginning because the time of the comment was like at the very beginning of when the video was posted. All right. And so super excited to react to that today. But I want to start off with some news. So currently Andrew Wilson is live. Now, if many of you all don't know, having kept up with it, Andrew Wilson claimed and promised that he would be releasing the alleged supposed text message from Charlie Kirk to TPUSA and or its affiliates, claiming that the quote-unquote left was going to take him out. I don't think that this text authentically exists. Erica Kirk herself, months ago, has already claimed that this text does not exist. And I know many of you all have already saw the clip circulating, but there's always at least a few of you that have not seen certain things. So I'll be sure to play it here on the show as well. Andrew Wilson has done a lot of lying. And so that I don't have to keep looking at my notes over here to the side, I've actually already tweeted about it. And so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go to this tweet and we're going to read this together so you can see what Andrew Wilson is currently lying about on his show. I've never seen so much cope in my life. I've never seen so much cope in my life from a person, let alone a man. So that's where is it at? Okay. Here it is. So let me zoom in so you all can see this pretty good. So it says, so Andrew Wilson is, and I tweeted this just moments ago. So Andrew Wilson is currently live on YouTube after stating that he would release the text messages of Charlie Kirk, claiming the left was going to unalive him, the very thing Erica Kirk said didn't exist months ago. By the way, there are a few important things to note about this live stream that I think you'd find disturbing. Outside of the incessant profanity, even for him, that he has used already in just the first 10 minutes, he has told several lies, including he stated that he reached out to Erica and TPUSA and that they immediately responded and were extremely cooperative in providing evidence to clear themselves and substantiate their alibis. He also claims that none of the people making allegations against him, such as Candace, Owens, Stu Peters, and the likes, ever reached out once to anyone at TPUSA in good faith to simply ask for evidence. Otherwise, they would have received it from TPUSA. Like, why do we need to ask you for that information? Why aren't you voluntarily giving that up? But let's continue. We know this isn't true because based on social media alone, Candace has publicly asked Erica, TPUSA, Andrew Covett, Blake Neff, etc., to provide any proof or evidence that they have and to have an open conversation publicly to answer the questions that so many people, including those who donated to TPUSA, have about the holes in their stories and the investigation. They have refused to provide anything. Andrew claims otherwise. He lied that Candace fought him on Tyler admitting to Lance that he could be seen on campus. Not fully true. Candace clearly said in the debate that it may be true, but she doesn't think that it's true and that it needs to be fact-checked. There's a major difference there. He also lied that Candace and many of us are, quote, cooperating with the UNF America organization, which is a radical left organization, And his evidence for that is that people exchanging replies on X with Unelf America is considered cooperating with the left. That includes me, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Yours truly. Unelf America has been liking my posts here lately on Twitter. He also claimed that Candace backtracked on stating that Erica should go to jail for unaliving Charlie Kirk. Candace never said that in life. Not only that, but Candace, not only did Candace never say this, but she cleared this up in great detail during the quote-unquote debate. And they also played the clip of what she actually said, and she never said that. But the worst part, he tricked the audience because now he is claiming that he won't release the alleged text message from Charlie until Friday. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, an entire week away, despite previously making it seem like he was going to release it today. But it gets worse. When you attempt to comment under the video, the disclaimer pops up and says that, quote, only channel subscribers of 20 minutes or longer can send messages. Like, dude, what? You also do not have the option to rewind his video while it's live, which is also very weird and unusual, so that it forces new viewers to have to go back and watch from the beginning if they are late, as most live viewers usually are. Didn't Andrew state in his humiliation ritual with Candace Owens that it's, quote, wrong to benefit off a good man's life/death? He did. But now he's doing that very thing. This was just 10-15 minutes ago. So, or this was just in the first 10-15 minutes of the live. So let me show you all this photo. So when I attempted to comment on the video, this is the notification I got. Only channel subscribers of 20 minutes or longer can send messages. Didn't even know this was an option. Didn't even know you could do this. That means that he's forcing people who have not only been subscribed, but you have to remain subscribed for some time in order to even comment under the post, which means that if you are likely subscribed to his channel 20 minutes or longer, you are probably on the Zionist side, if you will. Right? This is a major concern. That's wild. Didn't even know you could do that. Tell me that it's about money for you without telling me it's about money for you. Let's set the tone off right for this video. Let's kick this off with something pretty accurate.
Usually did before tours. We said a prayer and we asked the Lord to protect us, and we asked the Lord that his will be done. That's what we did. At one time, an employee of Turning Point, she has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now? Stop. What I am doing is releasing myself from the enemy's hands, where he could have a foothold in me. But also wanting justice for them here on earth. Oh, of course. But we serve a just God. And I rest easy in knowing that. He's sovereign, but he's just. And so let the Lord handle that.
Did y'all catch that? I know we've seen this clip a ton of times. Why does she motion in that direction? Why does she look in that direction when she says, let the Lord?
He's sovereign, but he's just. And so let the Lord.
I know I'm not the only one that saw it.
Handle that.
Can you imagine if you are on their side of the aisle and you're hiding behind this cloak of Christianity? And I confidently say hiding behind it because if you are an honest person, you're pretending that this is not weird. You're pretending that when you look at this as a human, we all feel that. You feel that when you're watching this, especially this beginning clip, there's something.
What we usually
Just that there. She's not even doing the thing with her eyes yet. There's something off here. I know I've talked about it. I don't want to just keep repeating myself. Something's off here. Respectfully, something's off. And the thing that I feel, and I've shared this before, is not human. Like, I'm not getting human vibes as from one human to the next. I'm not picking up human with this clip.
We did before tours. We said our prayer.
Why did you do that? It's like she's struggling to fight some sort of possession. And I do mean this respectfully. That's weird, bro. Don't tell me not to see what I'm seeing.
And we ask the Lord to protect us. And we ask the Lord that his will be done.
And here's the thing. I can literally do this. But you can still see the human life in my eyes. You may say, bro, stop looking at me, Buckeye. That's weird. But this is different. All right.
That's what we did. At one time, an employee of Turning Point, she has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now? Stop.
Why did she need to go on here to say that, though? She could have just said that on social media. She could have just made phone calls and said that. That's what we mean by performative. You went on CBS News to talk to Barry Weiss in order to say stop?
What I am doing is releasing myself from the enemy's hands, where he could have a foothold in me, but also wanting justice for them here on earth. No, of course. But we serve a just God, and I rest easy in knowing that. He's sovereign, but he's just. And so let the Lord handle that.
Why are you looking downward when you say that? Now let's go ahead and play two clips that proves that Andrew Wilson is a liar. The first one, I'm sure many of you have already seen. Shout out to whoever shared this already. I know I'm a little later. I was on vacation. And then I'm going to play a second clip of Charlie Kirk himself stating something that will prove Andrew Wilson is a liar.
Responded with this. Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th.
Before we hear Erica, just real fast, I shared in my video yesterday that after I had some time to go back, and I got my video coming at a later time, today's live would just be too long if I did it today. So I may have to just do it tomorrow. That I'm 100% convinced. This is what I will share. Now, I don't believe that Andrew Wilson was paid by TPUSA. I'm going to say it again. I do not believe that Andrew Wilson was paid by TPUSA. I believe that Andrew Wilson was paid by either the Daily Wire, but that's surface level thinking. I believe that Andrew Wilson was paid by TPUSA's overlords, which I did mention that in the original video yesterday. But to be clear, I believe that those quote unquote overlords are the same people that's funding the Daily Wire. Allegedly. Everything I say in this live is alleged. Everything I say in this live is alleged. And I'm going to showcase to you why it's not TPUSA. There are several things that he did that tells me that it was the overlords that paid him. So stay tuned for that, because we're going to break down that entire opening monologue from him. His whole opening statement is going to get demolished.
But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Let's run it back.
Charlie responded with this. Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th.
But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Coming from his wife herself. Well, let's take it a step further. This is Charlie Kirk speaking with the gentleman I did the full breakdown. I'll try to find the video and link it in the description. that I did weeks ago, talking about what is it called? The School of Scientology. All the Scientologists, the follower or the founder of the Scientology school, the School of Scientology. All of these people are students, colleagues, followers, admirers of Aleister Crowley, right? All of these people are occultists. But if you want that video in its full breakdown, and they are heavily surrounded, that being TPUSA, with people who believe in the School of Scientology, and we know what is Luciferianism. It's just a different version. It's Luciferianism. There is no middle ground. Either you're with God or you're not with God. There's no a bunch of other things. No, it's that side and then God's side. That's how this works. Let's listen to what Charlie Kirk himself said in this YouTube video on Grant Cardone's YouTube channel. At the 1921 mark is where I'm starting. This was 11 months ago. So this was last year in 2025. Let's hear who Charlie said that he was more in fear of. He said it himself. All right. You all know my position on what I believe truly happened that day with Charlie, but it doesn't change what Charlie said. And surprise, surprise, it wasn't the left.
I mean, anybody that's got big visibility is going to have a lot. Can you just talk about, have they aided you? Have they provided you with the impetus for more creativity and more solutions and more funding?
No. Well, so there's two types of haters. There's I was trying to find a nice way to say this, but I'm not going to say it. There's
I can say it for you.
Yeah, there's like the purple-haired jihadist on a college campus that wants to murder me and my family.
Oh.
That, like...
I don't have those kind of haters.
Yeah, I know. Those people don't bother me, whatever.
See, my haters are nothing now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they have weapons. We get death threats almost every day. That's part of the game of the space that I'm in. The other type of haters, though, are the ones that are the close proximity ones. And these are the ones I know that had some sort of relationship with me and either betrayed me or deceived me or said that I could not succeed.
Let's just go back. What did he just say? What did we hear Charlie Kirk say himself? Not some alleged text message that's most likely going to be AI. No. What did we hear Charlie say himself? Let's just go back.
People say I have the most haters, but I can't have the most. I know you have a lot.
I think I got more.
And Trump's got a lot. I mean, anybody that's got big visibility is going to have a lot. Can you just talk about, have they aided you? Have they provided you with the impetus for more creativity and more solutions and more funding?
No. Well, so there's two types of haters. There's I was trying to find a nice way to say this, but I'm not going to say it. There's
I can say it for you.
Yeah, there's like the purple-haired jihadist on a college campus that wants to murder me and my family.
Oh.
That, like...
I don't have those kind of haters.
Yeah, I know. Those people don't bother me, whatever.
See, my haters are nothing now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they have weapons. We get death threats almost every day. That's part of the game of the space that I'm in. The other type of haters, though, are the ones that are the close proximity ones. And these are the ones I know that had some sort of relationship with me and either betrayed me or deceived me or said that I could not succeed. That is a whole different, those actually get my attention.
Yeah.
Just like the random troubled person on a campus, whatever.
So the obvious, I want to hurt Charlie Kirk, doesn't bother you
has
as
zero.
much.
In fact,
yes.
I actually believe that I am doing my job as a truth teller, the more that those people are trying to come and murder me.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
I know that might sound crazy,
No, dude,
but in the world that we are in, truth telling is a signature of whether or not you are receiving hate is a signature of whether or not you're telling the truth.
Right, and a sign of success.
Exactly.
Now, so the group you worry about is not
even worry, but that draws my attention. And
it's the inner circle inside.
Yes, or people that suddenly started acting in a way where they compromise.
You blew them up, now they forget that.
Yeah, something like that.
Or they betrayed you internally.
Sure. Do you have someone you have in mind, Rick Anderson? No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, every.
No, I'm kidding.
Dude, I love the game. I love the game though. I got to tell you, the game's good.
I will say I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. I've mentioned him before.
Michael was vicious.
And this is an important thing.
Yeah.
Is that everyone should watch The Last Dance, Netflix, greatest. By the way, I'm from Chicago. And can we just settle this once for all? There is not even a comparison between LeBron James and Michael Jordan. It is ridiculous. Okay.
Okay, I agree with that statement, by the way, but we're getting off into some other things. What more that needs to be said here? Charlie Kirk just said it himself. He just said it himself. If Andrew Wilson ever drops, doubt that he will. He says that he's going to drop the text messages Friday along with another overwhelming amount of evidence that's going to debunk all the things that he could have did on Candace's show and embarrassed her. He didn't have it then. But he has to drip the evidence along, keep him coming back to the show. But you just said at the very beginning of the debate that it's wrong to financially benefit off of the death of a good man. Only for you to later say that in the same quote unquote debate. Well, Charlie Kirk himself just said that group doesn't concern him at all because he feels that he's doing his job. And that was last year. Now, I saw a kind of comment. Somebody said, what was the date of this? I can only tell you the date that it was dropped on YouTube. And let's look together. That would be 11 months ago. September the 12th is when it was dropped. Oh, wow. Bro, this was just 2 days afterwards, bro. Wow. 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 Let's dig in it some more. I wanted to share that big drop here at the very beginning for those of you that haven't seen that or heard Charlie talk about that. And I'll try to be sure to link it in the description after the fact. Let me share something else. So I shared this photo. Where is it? I shared this photo here. And I said, yep, basically. And it's a recreated image of, yeah, that's basically what happened. I want to read this pinned comment here. Somebody says, let's take a few seconds to think about these 4 questions in regard to the Charlie Kirk unaliving. According to a retired LEO lieutenant of 25 years, he says only 4 basic questions need to be asked, and every police officer in America knows this. 1, was the crime scene secured? Was the transport vehicle secured into evidence? Was the body preserved into evidence? Were all articles of clothing, jewelry, phone, wallet, microphones he was holding or wearing, everything on the deceased preserved and entered into evidence? When the answers are no, 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 and no, case dismissed. And it could also mean something else. If not, you know you're dealing with a criminal conspiracy. I would 100% agree. Which, by the way, is a crime to fake your death. Police officers are fired for these types of failures. FBI or not. I want to get even deeper. Came prepared. I want to read something from Ian Carroll. Ian Carroll, let me go and find it. Shared there's a tweet rather from Ian Carroll a few months ago, and when he shared this, I could not have said this any better because there was a lot of contention around the term patsy. What does patsy mean? Well, I'm gonna read this from Ian Carroll because you give credit where it's due, and the way he shared it, I couldn't have said it any better. And what makes this even better is that he's responding to another large influencer who was criticizing Candace in particular. So let's read this together. And this is all the things that I've been saying on this show for a number of years about how patsies and psyops work. And Ian Carroll shared it spot on. He says, Sean, that is to Sean Strickland, MMA. He says, Sean, I love you, man, but that's not how patsies work. They don't pay Oswald. Well, it probably would make sense for me to read the original tweet so that it would make a lot more sense for some of you. So let me make sure this is zoomed in enough. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit more for some of you. So it says here, what would it take for Tyler Robinson to be a patsy? You got to pay off Tyler. You got to pay off the gay mentally ill boyfriend. You got to pay off everyone around Charlie and countless more. The math just don't math. All right. And this was back in July. He said this. You really think the CIA would trust that mentally deranged gay to keep a secret? No way. Completely missed the mark by a long shot. Ian Carroll said what I would have said. He just said it a lot better. Sean, I love you, man, but that's not how patsies work. They don't pay Oswald to be the JFK patsy. Money isn't a powerful enough motivator for this type of thing. Usually what they do is get leverage via blackmail or other threat or coercion, and sometimes promises, maybe memberships into a club or group. I want to say for the record before I forget, everything I just stated in this paragraph here literally applies to Andrew Wilson. That further substantiates my claim that I am very convinced that he was paid and or sent to go see Candace. Many of you all were saying, or some of you all were saying, well, we already knew that. No, you figured it. It's one thing to be suspicious of it, suspected, because he's admitted that he was commissioned to teach them how to debate, which, by the way, I want to state this for the record. I do not believe that Andrew Wilson was ever paid to teach them how to debate. I'm going to say it again. I don't think he was. I believe it was somebody that said it, was thinking the same thing I was thinking as well. And it may have been Baron Coleman. I don't believe that he was commissioned. I believe, just like I said in my last live, my live with Brian, the auditor, I said what I believe has happened is that Andrew Wilson has gotten ahead of the narrative, like he did with the Freemason thing, him admitting that he's a Freemason. He knows the internet sleuths are going to sleuth. They're going to do what they do. So he wants to get ahead of the narrative because he knows he's rising up the ranks in popularity in different circles and spaces. So if I come forward and I tell you that I'm a Freemason and I only made it to Master Mason and I still have my Freemason Bible, whenever you come across some information that exposes me, there's no reason you should be scared. There's no reason you should be shocked. There's no reason you should be afraid of my intentions. Nope, you should trust me, because you know why? I volunteered that information. So clearly I have nothing to hide. It's not how this works. That's not how this works. All right? That's not how this works. I believe he did the same thing with this. I believe he was seen at the headquarters, and I believe they brought him to the headquarters. And by them, I don't just mean TPUSA. I mean they're overlords. Everything I say in this live is alleged. And I believe what they told him was what the plan was. But hey, if there are certain people at TPUSA that may have saw him here, and they may be Candace's source, because we haven't quite figured out who that could be. We fired quite a few people, but somebody here could still be doing it. So to save face, let's just say you came here to train people. Y'all keep that in mind. All right? Because everything in this statement literally could apply to Andrew Wilson. Usually what they do is get leverage via blackmail or other threat or coercion, or sometimes promises, maybe membership into a club or a group like Freemasonry. Or maybe blackmail, because as you all know, not only has Andrew Wilson defended Mr. Epstein himself, there's a difference in being a pedophile with 3-year-olds compared to 16-year-olds. Being a pedophile, I shouldn't say that word, but being a creep to a 14-year-old is not the same thing as being a creep to a 2-year-old. That's the argument he chose to make. He's willing to down that hill. He's also defended Great before. Did you know that? Arguing that, making the point, trying to get a gotcha to his opponent, stated that even some women, while they are being raped, have, what's the safe word to say on YouTube? ORGASMSs. They still have those even while being raped sometimes. Why would you say something like that, dog? Then they give them a part of the picture with the role that requires them to go somewhere or do something. Exactly. The patsy doesn't know they are setting themselves up into the shot. Along the way, if you either had blackmail on them in the beginning, like maybe they were looking at videos of children, for example, or they committed crimes in their role in the larger plot, you seriously mess up their ability to just prove their innocence in a court of law. Very well said. Also could apply to Andrew Wilson, not just Tyler Robinson. Because it requires you to explain how you were looking at videos of kids or admitting to the crimes you did commit just to attempt to tell the truth. Then there's the MK Ultra angle, but that's more of a gray area of speculation, so we'll skip that. The point is, it's complicated. Intelligence agencies have been practicing this for decades, but they're not perfect at it. They're not perfect at it. And that's why there's all sorts of massive inconsistencies in the story and the details about Tyler, his roommate, and the unaliving or the pow-powing in general. When a crazy 20-year-old pulls off a sloppy unaliving, all the pieces line up, all the evidence is there. You get gunshot residue, the dolls can find the gun, the wound matches the caliber, the timeline is obvious, we can track his device everywhere he carried it. This case has a whole basket of irregularities that scream intel agency, and they're claiming a 30-06 stopped the human neck, which is insane. Here's Rob O'Neill, which we've heard him of Team 6, which I have my opinions about the pow-powing of Osama bin Laden. I don't think that actually happened, but that's a video for another day. It doesn't change what he said here. All right. Before we continue along with this video, while I have you all in the building, as a reminder, please hit the like button on your way in. That goes a long way. I really appreciate it. I would like to take advantage of this moment while I have you all here to just slide in some very important information about what's happening in the world right now, outside of the fact that Joe Kent just went on to Jimmy Dore's channel and just admitted that no, regardless of who gets elected, yes, we've said this, regular people have said this for a while, but it's one thing for a regular person to say it. It's a completely different thing when the person, I believe, who was the director of counterintelligence is stating this himself. He stated that regardless of whoever's president, it will not ever make a difference. Everybody should be scared to be hearing that. Everybody says that basically we're occupied. Well, that's not the only thing happening in this country right now. And this is very important. Here's a young lady who's going viral right now. And let's listen to what she has to say, because a lot of people are ashamed. A lot of people are private. I just had someone say, like, am I cool with my neighbors? And I'm like, yeah, I know them first name basis. We know each other. We look out for each other. And he was saying, like, that's rare, because a lot of people say to themselves. And the point I want to make with that is a lot of times we don't know how much people are struggling. Let's hear what she has to say here.
Y'all, people are really not paying their bills. I know you guys have recently found out that there is a large portion of people that have just stopped paying their mortgage. They defaulted on their mortgage loan, and the banks are pretty much just like, it's so many, we can't even do nothing about it. This is worse than 2008. The difference is they're not publicizing it. They're not causing widespread panic. I don't understand the game plan of them trying to keep this as a secret when we all know what's actually going on. I think the reason why they're not saying anything or much about the financial situation is because once we all find out, the ones that still paying our bills, that everybody else ain't paying their bills, we'll also stop paying our bills. And the craziest part about this is mortgages and rent and, keeping a place over your head is typically the last bill that people stop paying. People will default on everything else. Credit cards is first thing, maybe even your car, but it's typically the car and the house that are the last things to go. And the fact that so many people are not paying their mortgage, and the fact that the bank ain't even foreclosing on them or arranging to kick them out because it's too many, speaks volumes. This is definitely worse than 2008. 2008 only went bad because the banks were intentionally giving out terrible loans to where they just inflated to an impossible amount to pay. Not that people didn't have jobs, not that people didn't have money. It was simply because of the loan, the banks. They did that on purpose to cause the crash. But This situation here has been a long stretch of intentionally making the middle class take hit, even the upper class take hit after hit after hit after hit. Let me ask y'all something. Do y'all really think these people in Congress and in our government, local, let me ask y'all something. Do y'all really think these people in Congress and in our government, local, state, and for the entire United States, do you really think that they're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars?
That's crazy. My bad, y'all. My bad. I didn't say a whole lot, but I said this part right here is extremely important. I've been saying this for the last 6 years, and this is going to blow your mind. I don't know how long I was muted, but what I was going to say was I've been saying this for pretty much since I started this YouTube channel 6 years ago. Please do not let this go unnoticed. What she's about to say has been one of the most, it's flew under the radar, and it's one of the most easily overlooked points that she's about to make. But this is an extremely big deal and an extremely big glaring point that she's about to state. All right. A lot of people say to themselves, maybe y'all didn't hear this part either. I want to just repeat it just in case. A lot of people say to themselves, somebody asked me, am I cool with my neighbors? And I was like, yeah, we know each other on first name basis. We look out for each other, the whole ordeal. He was like, well, that's not common. People say to themselves, people are struggling. So a lot of people are doing what she claims in this video is happening, but you will never know because people are ashamed. They say to themselves. I'm going to go back just a few seconds. Listen to what she's about to say here. Listen to this.
Ask y'all something. Do y'all take hit after hit after hit after hit? Let me ask y'all something. Do y'all really think these people in Congress and in our government, local, state, and for the entire United States, do you really think that they're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and they don't know exactly what they're doing?
Bingo.
Do you think they went to these prestigious colleges and these business schools and all this hoopla, all this extra stuff? They've been doing this for 20 plus years. You think they don't know what they're doing? They absolutely know what they're doing. It's intentional to bring us to our knees.
Bingo.
It's intentional.
Bingo. You have some of the smartest, some of the brightest, some of the most educated in the world, all working in Congress, coming from these Ivy League elite schools. They come from families that are extremely successful, been a part of the, high middle class, small percent of, extremely wealthy people. You don't think these people know how to fix this country? Well, of course they do. Of course they do. So you say, well, yeah, Didi, we all know that. We can all figure that. But the point is, think about what that means. Who are these people that are in Congress, in government? Why is the country never getting better? No matter who's in politics, no matter who's in the White House, it doesn't matter. They can't figure it out. The smartest and brightest in the world. How'd you get the job? They're plants. These people are plants all throughout the government. These people are coming from, a lot of them are coming from the military, and they're sent into positions to cosplay as somebody that's going to change. They're not.
And I 100% think it is going to get a lot worse.
It is.
I think this is really just the beginning.
It's designed to get worse. It has to get worse before it gets better. And what that means is they have to get rid of this system that we're in. That's why so many people are depressed. A lot of people are relying on social media influencers to make them feel better, to tell them what direction to go. We're not reading the Bible as much as we used to. Many of us aren't going to church as much as we used to, but we call ourselves believers. Right? Myself included. All of these things are by design. The frequencies that's in the music, all of these things are by design. Bill Gates talking about billions of people may pass away by 2027 if we don't fix the water supply. Fear-mongering people, because it's not just trying to financially stress you out. It's emotionally, it's mentally, right? It's spiritually. They have to. It's time for a reset, especially the financial market. I believe every 25 years they reset the monetary system every century or quarter of a century. I forget. Yeah, I believe it's every 100 years.
And as you can see, it's becoming a food war. It's becoming a water war. And I think it's going to get pretty scary. I think human nature is going to start to come out, as it already has. So yeah, you just going to have to pray. You're going to have to pray and make sure that you're covered by God.
Totally agree. And again, we're going to get to the juicy part of the reacting to the gentleman that will give me some leeway to speak a little bit more about Mr. Andrew Wilson. But this is very important. I want to just show you all just some quick highlights of what's going on in the world. And this won't take long at all. This is more like a little flash round, if you will. This right here is an NBA coach. This is what's happening in the world today.
Not a biologist. How can I be expected to define what a woman is?
I just told you that this is a coach in the WNBA. That W stands for women's. Did you hear what she just said? Let's run this back. This is the world we're living in.
I am not a biologist. How can I be expected to define what a woman is? If you think you know how to tell the difference between a man and woman, please speak up.
Boys have a penis, girls have vagina.
For those of you that don't know, former NBA player, I believe his name is Enes Kanter, has officially declared for the WNBA. He's preparing for the draft. He's going to try for a team. Another man is going to do the same thing. And they're liable for a lawsuit, that being the WNBA, if they reject these people. Why? Because you just heard what the coach said. They can't define what a woman is. What world are we living in, people? This is real life. We can talk about this on the internet, but this is real life. This is what's happening. It wasn't just something that they implemented over the last 4 years. It's something that we're setting a standard for going forward, because once again, when I say a reset, they're trying to bring in the New World Order. That term has been around for so long that I think people just trigger when they hear it, instead of just actually not appreciating in a good way, but appreciating how dangerous and what that term really, what that looks like in real life. I also want to just share this real quick clip for those of you that don't know. Officer Tatum has stated that Candace Owens, just like Andrew Wilson stated on his live stream today, that she has stated unequivocally that Erica Kirk unalived Charlie Kirk. And we know she didn't say that.
Candace has said, and I saw the video, the guy Milk TV posted it, that Erica killed Charlie.
Never said that. Never said that. Calls Candace his sister. Confusion. These people are the authors of confusion. And as we know, God is not associated with confusion. God is not the author of confusion. These people are.
Unequivocally, Erica killed Charlie.
No, she's never said that in life. Why would you so boldly say that, bro? The internet is forever. What are these people doing? Benny Johnson just coming out and just getting community notes for just blatantly lying about what happened in the preliminary hearing with Tyler Robinson. Why are these people just lying and just repeating them?
Erica got him killed. Erica knew something about his death. Turning Point USA was responsible for his death. Not they could be, not I think they were responsible.
No words, bro. And the fact that Candace hadn't even addressed that guy as of yet is even more shocking. But it continues to get worse. Here is Charlie Kirk's hunting buddy, sharing some very interesting things about Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens' relationship. And there's a couple of things I want you to pay attention to what he shared.
knew Charlie socially more than politically. We had a mutual friend and philanthropist, Foster Freese, used to take us both hunting on these hunting trips. And so I met Charlie maybe when he was 19 years old, 20 years old, something like that. And we would go on these trips together. So I knew him personally more than professionally. And you get some good time. You spend 2 or 3 days together out in the fields, hunting, dining together. And at the time, Candace was involved in a very public dispute with Kanye West. And I don't know if you remember this.
We do.
So she had started Blexit. She made a claim that Kanye had designed the logo for Blexit, a claim that Kanye refuted. He didn't want to be engaged in politics. There's another guy that's gone completely off the rails, in my opinion. But at the time, he was actually had been red-pilled and was pro-Trump. And so Candace was trying to piggyback on that. This big fight breaks out. I'm with Charlie. Charlie is constantly on his phone on that trip. We're out in the field, we're hunting. We try to shut all that stuff out when we're doing that. This big controversy is going on. And I asked Charlie what's going on. He explained it to me. And so in that context, I asked him about this email or this text exchange that I had with Candace. And he said, I don't know. And he literally picked up his phone. He pointed to his phone and he said, but some people never change. And
so was this when how long after she was no longer at Turning Point when that conversation took place?
No,
right?
she was still at Turning Point.
Right. She was still there. Okay.
She was there. She was their national comms director. And this is why it involved Charlie, because Charlie's trying to protect his brand. He's trying to protect Turning Point. It's become this huge public controversy. The last thing Turning Point needs is to be at war with Kanye West.
Exactly.
Right. And Candace is having this big public thing with Kanye, much to her own benefit. This is Candace's pattern. She gets her prominence out of doing ugly, controversial things. And so we started to talk about this more extensively. And he said, man, she's just such a nightmare for me. And it's just constant management, to contain the chaos, to contain the drama. And there's always a balance for him. He described that, she's very popular and she's very charismatic and she's really well-spoken. But behind the scenes, there's always this nastiness and chaos. And he described how bad it was for him and how much of his energy it took just to sort of manage. Now, I would describe it this way. These were not his words. Like he had a rattlesnake in a jar.
Yeah.
Right? And it was an attraction and it was fascinating to look at and fascinating to watch it rattle its tail. But if you ever open the jar, you're going to get bit. And that's what he was describing. Like, how do you manage the toxicity in the midst of the positive stuff coming out of it? My response was, you don't. You got to cut yourself off from that. He did sometime later, but he cut himself off when she actually started to sort of lean into the more pro-Nazi stuff. He obviously couldn't tolerate that, and that's when he broke ways with her. But this conversation, he was very clear. Candace was not a friend of his. Candace was a problem that he did his best to manage. And the idea that she posits herself as some kind of great friend of Charlie's, I had extensive conversations with him, and not just on that at that time, but later about how difficult it was to manage her.
Obviously, go ahead. Well, I was just going to ask if after that clip of you on Jeremy's show went so viral, did she ever say anything? Did she acknowledge that? Did she ever attack you after that?
Oh, yeah.
That's her style.
Of course she did. And honestly, my wife asked me if I thought that was going to happen. I thought, I'm a small fish. Everybody's attacking her. She's not going to come after me. But she did. Indeed, on her podcast. I don't watch it. Somebody else sent me a clip. And what she said is that I'm lazy and I'm always trying to benefit off of other people, and that she and Charlie joked around and that they called me Sneakler or something like that. I just thought it was hilarious that she felt like she had to address these claims. And the most interesting thing about her response was there's literally absolutely no dealing with the claim. Like the story that I told, she didn't claim that story was untrue. She didn't try to refute anything that I had said. She just made a personal attack and smear.
She came after you, which is, again, that's totally her style.
Right.
And so after they parted ways, which I'm assuming that had to have been really hard for Charlie to pull somebody into an office and say, okay, this isn't going to work anymore. And after that, they did not, like she didn't go to his wedding. There's all sorts of things that she didn't attend where if you were really good friends with somebody, you would have gone to those events and you would have stayed close. But she, like you said, she has posited herself as somebody who was his like BFF.
So the first thing I want to say just real fast, I have so many thoughts, is one of my favorite channels on YouTube is Abolitionist Rising. Shout out to them. Go give them a follow. I would imagine that many of you all, if you follow my content, are probably already subscribed to them. Abolitionist Rising. Prior to finding their content, I thought I was pro-life, right? That's the term that people use, pro-life. And then I watched their channel and I realized the issues with the pro-life position. I'm definitely an abolitionist. And thank God for Russell and his crew for the work that they're doing. God bless them. Why am I mentioning them? Because One of the most infuriating yet entertaining things about their channel are the people that they engage with, many of them left-leaning progressives, probably self-proclaimed Democrats and progressives, how they will offend abortion. They'll say some of the most wild things. Just watch a video today of somebody arguing that there's no, I mean, they typically say there's nothing wrong with it. I actually don't want to digress too much. The point is, they're doing all of these things, saying all of these things, right? But they say some of the most wild things, and they're being fact-checked with kindness. And they're getting even more angry. Guy walks up to Russell and says, with a sign that says, I wish you were aborted. A sign, a really big sign that they have as a message to Russell, who is standing to fight against abortion. This person says, can I take a picture with you? Russell says, you know what? Yeah, you can take a picture with me. He goes, is that sign for me? And the guy goes, yeah, clearly some homosexual guy. He had like a crop top shirt on, was talking like a woman. He goes, he was like, yeah, I wish this about you. And Russell goes, oh, okay. Well, I wish that you're having a great day or something to that effect. And the guy, literally on camera, you can see the guy was like, the kindness killed him. He was like, thank you. Buffoonery. This lady here at the end just lied, just made something up. She would never debate Candace, lied and said that Candace Owens' debate strategy is to just resort to ad hominems and not deal with the substance. Anybody who's objective know if you listen to that woman, that's not true, but okay, whatever. But the bigger problem is the guy. I don't know if everything he said is true. I don't doubt that some of what he said there may be some truth to it. People get into it behind the scenes often, which is part of the reason I played the clip. You don't know people behind the scenes. You don't know what people are really dealing with. You don't know these people. You don't know who really sent them, who's backing them, who's paying for them, what they really believe, what they really stand for. All we know is what they tell us publicly. You could be a raging alcoholic, drug addict, but you're on stream telling people not to do it. But when you got to the part about the NAZI word, I was like, okay, bro. Like just saying dumb stuff, things that aren't true, things that aren't even remotely true, and they stick with it. I'm like, now we know that everything else you said most likely isn't true as well. You're just lying. Then you said they weren't friends, bro. It's unlimited clips of not only Charlie stating that they're friends, because if you wanted to say, well, he said that to save face. That was the politically correct answer for the audience because he was protecting TPUSA because Candace has a large following and she could destroy their reputation. It's not like he only said that. He went an extra step and said, I will not be bullied by anybody that tells me not to be friends with the woman. Weird. That's all. I'm just noticing how weird these things are. Like, you people aren't making sense. It's just strange, right? Very, very strange. In the last clip before we get to our gentleman from the military whose position was changed after the debate, I would like to play an excerpt from the Charlie Kirk show. And this is where I'm just going to give some of my sort of psychological perspectives. You all know I have one of my degrees is in psychology, but even if I didn't have a degree in psychology, my brain worked this way prior to going to school, which is what made me want to study psychology. I want to just break it down, the interaction that Charlie Kirk has with Blake Neff, Jack Posobiec, and another gentleman when they're discussing Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. And this is further, I know I'm in the minority with a lot of you all. Part of the reason why I believe that Charlie could be alive. You say this clip, many of you all are going to say that this clip has nothing to do with nothing. And how does this have anything to do with that theory? I'm going to explain to you just what I look for with these types of situations. So I'm going to play this clip. Is it on here? Okay, it's not on here. I have to go over here to get it, which is no problem at all. All right, let's go to this clip here. There it is. Let's take a look at this exchange with Charlie Kirk and these individuals. So actually, let's read this up top. It says, I just went back and rewatched this episode of Thought Crime. I had seen it before. I remember sometime around 2024 election, and since then had only seen shorter, specific, chopped up clips. This whole episode is a look back exactly just how much Charlie adamantly supported Candace, and those guys never stood up with him the way they should have, and you can clearly see it bothered Charlie. Besides the viral clip of Charlie giving Ben Shapiro the read down that Candace doesn't quote unquote take money from him, she makes money from him for him, and she earns her money from him. Let's check out this clip, and I'm going to tell you some things that I noticed.
Ben, like this is going to be big. Ben wants to play offense. So then he decides of all the
wants
tweets,
to do a 6-day war.
Yeah, more than that. And honestly, I think this is really, and so that's not true. So the Candace and Tucker recorded yesterday, okay, on Wednesday, okay. So someone in the chat, I know that for a fact. Let me finish this. So anyway, the Ben then comes out of all the tweets, goes after Jack. the tweet where Candace Owens tweets about blessed are the peacemakers.
Yeah, so we've got that. Bring up number 81, and so it's blessed are the peacemakers.
He talks like a woman to me. Am I tripping? Am I being mean? I know Christ wouldn't say this, so I do feel bad when I say that at times, man. But this dude talks like a woman. I feel like this is how women speak. Why are you talking like that?
And so it's blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they when they persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. That's, of course, from the Beatitudes, Sermon on the Mount, Gospel of Matthew. Then she jumps ahead a few verses, still from the Sermon on the Mount. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other.
Amen.
You cannot serve both God and money.
Amen.
And so she tweets that. And then number 82, Ben responds shortly after.
Gonna read it.
Does someone want to imitate Ben's voice? Or
So this part right here told me that, okay, maybe they are a little bit objective. This showed me that they weren't on the best of terms with Ben Shapiro. Notice that I said they. Of course, we do this about Charlie based on what Candace has shared. And seemingly only Candace. The rest of them are pretending that it didn't exist. That this friction between Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk didn't exist. But it's very apparent here that Blake Neff, there's some sort of unity behind the scenes at the very least about Ben Shapiro, because he's willing to not only read this and go against Ben's position, that being Blake Neff, but he's willing to mock the very infamous voice of Ben Shapiro that people typically find very annoying.
Just maybe I'll do it. Candace, if you feel that taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means, quit.
Another thing is, Jack Posobiec, he always looks confused. Why does he always look like he has 42 thoughts going through his head at once? But it also looks like he has no thoughts. It's like he's listening to everybody speak, regardless of what panel he's on, but nothing that's been said is processing. It's like it's malfunctioning. Like, look at him. You can even see there, like, what are you doing with your face, man? And he does this a lot. He did this outside the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing.
Somehow comes between you and God, by all means, quit. If you feel that taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means, quit. And
that's pretty good.
Yeah. And so
that's actually
hold on. I got to keep doing. I'm sorry to hold on. She ain't taking money from you, Ben.
Charlie Kirk is not happy here. He is not happy here. Like the tone and the amount of, sharpness in his voice, he meant for this to pierce Ben Shapiro's soul when he heard this and saw this. He was genuinely offended. You can't fake this here. This is how a person would stand up for their sister, their little sister, their little brother, their wife, their best friend, right? Their little cousin. somebody that's in a position where they can't really do anything, and you're in a position where you can. Especially as a man, from a two-dimensional perspective, I see this a mile away. He was not happy about that part.
Hold on. She ain't taking money from you, Ben. She's earning money, okay? What, you accusing her to be a thief? I got to be honest. What are you doing here, man? Candace, if you feel like taking money, whoa, taking money, does she not provide a podcast that you monetize?
Yeah.
You employ her to drive value for your company.
Subscriptions.
Are you exactly? By the way, how many times have I been pushed a Daily Wire Plus ad with Candace's face? Candace, if you feel that taking money, I don't. Jack, am I nitpicking here, or is
I think it's nitpicking a little?
How is that? Okay, so this is one of the things I wanted to point out to people. Who is Blake Neff? Like, we know that he used to work for Tucker Carlson, but who are these people? It's not that I'm not saying that they're not allowed to have different opinions from Charlie, but obviously, as we know, Charlie was superiorly. He was extensively smarter than all of these people. I mean, by a mile. Like, it wasn't even. He was in another stratosphere. So a lot of them looked up to Charlie. But when Charlie is making these very obvious common sense assertions, like concessions, why is it that you got people like this dude who boldly gives the least popular response, and he says it confidently? Oh, I think you're nitpicking there. That's literally not nitpicking. That's not nitpicking. Ben Shapiro is being very intentional with his language. You're taking money. But she's not, though, bro. You are contractually obligated on both ends, right, to fulfill certain protocols that results in you paying this person who is an employee for a company. They're not taking nothing, bro. They're making money. That matters, because we know what he's trying to imply, as if she's freeloading off of them.
A little bit.
Jack, am I nitpicking?
Well, I get what you're saying in the sense of she is an employee of the Daily Wire, and I don't know the specifics of the contract or however it works out, rev sharing or everything, but just from the face of it, her name, her visage, her work, her profile, it's all done in furtherance of promoting the Daily Wire, in the same way that, here on Thought Crime, we promote it using our platforms, et cetera, et cetera. So all of the work that she's done lately for Daily Wire Plus, her great George Floyd documentary, her counter documentary to Making of a Murderer, which dropped recently, these were huge events, and they all require Daily Wire Plus signups for anyone to, and I was involved in promoting both of those. I participated in, I was asked to by Daily Wire to promote, and I was more than happy to, because I thought they were fantastic pieces of work. And so the idea that she's taking money while this, and not explaining it as if it's some sort of actual mutually beneficial contract, I think it is a little disingenuous for him to say that she's taking money from the company, when that's obviously not exactly what the confines of the relationship.
So we might be nitpicking. I don't think I am. But that's a separate issue.
You're not. But what I noticed was sort of, Charlie seemed, I've stated multiple times on this channel that, in my personal opinion, everything I say is alleged. This is not stated as a fact, that I believe that Charlie Kirk had handlers around him. I believe that he had several. I believe his wife was a handler. I believe this with more so than Erica, actually, that Josh Hammer is one of his handlers. Like, where do these people come from? Why are they around Charlie? A lot of them are not that intelligent. A lot of them are just Zionists. What are they doing around Charlie? And I think what you typically find, like on the PBD podcast, the Adam dude, like, why is he there? He adds no value to the show. Almost every other video is predominantly the comment section, regardless of platform, by the way, YouTube or X, of people and shorts telling them, we don't like the guy, get rid of him. He's ruining your show. Your brand is tanking because of this leech. Get rid of them. Goes nowhere. Usually when you see that, it's because these people have been placed there not by who you think is the leader. And in this case, would be Charlie Kirk. These people were not placed there by Charlie Kirk. It's someone that Charlie Kirk answers to, in my opinion. In my opinion. So I have those sort of questions with people like Blake Neff, Josh Hammer, these people. Here's a bigger question. What changed? All of a sudden, Blake Neff, Jack Posobiec, these people have nothing negative to say about Ben Shapiro. They're not critical of him. They're accepting $1 million from the guy. They're allowing him to come on the platform physically in person, even though I don't remember the last time that's ever happened when Charlie was around. Weird. Weird. Completely weird. And I just remember one last thing. Do you all remember they stated that Charlie Kirk changed clothes? Tyler Robinson. They stated that Tyler Robinson changed clothes on the roof. Let me see where that clip is so I can show that. Governor Cox stated this. This is important because Andrew Wilson is making quite a bit of claims about overwhelming evidence when it comes to Mr. Tyler Robinson. So what we're going to do here is we're going to where is it at? Sorry. Here it is right here. Listen to what Governor Cox said.
Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU.
No. You got to say it again.
So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU.
Lies. That's a lie. We know that that's a lie. When are they going to have to explain that part? That's not true. He didn't change clothes on the roof. These people are just saying things, man. They're just saying things. This is the governor we're talking about. That's for those who think on a two-dimensional level and typically think that the higher somebody is, the more you should trust them. When typically it's the reverse, right? Typically it's the reverse. When we're living in a country, when they say that the president of the United States, that's the most powerful, supposedly the most powerful position in the world. If you are the president of this country, of this nation, when you have President Trump, supposedly, according to Joe Kent, saying himself that it's very apparent that our president has been, quote unquote, warned about who's really in charge by the, quote unquote, attempts on his life. Dude, amazing. Let's get to our buddy. Let's get to Mr. The name of the channel. Yes, many of you all guessed it accurately. The name of this gentleman's channel is called Back Channel Media. Once again, I've spoken to him. I also commented under his video. Let's see here. Oh, wait. Where's the comment? Oh, I got to zoom out. Let's see. Oh, that's too much of a zoom out. There's 100. Okay. And I asked him if I can interview him. He said, "Hey, Didi, thanks for reaching out. Let's keep in touch, man. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I'll think on it." He even said that here. So I appreciated him being honest about it. But that's all right, because that buys me time to go ahead and just react to just part of this. I'm not going to watch all of it and just take his shine away. Please go and watch the video. Check it out when you get a chance. But this guy he's thinking. All right. He's thinking. Let's go.
Did not actually want to make this video, but after watching the Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson debate yesterday on YouTube, as I'm sure most of you have, it was so strange what occurred during that debate, what was said, what wasn't said. I wanted to be able to provide a feedback from an investigator. And if you're new here, I spent over a decade in the U.S. military, from everything from a combat paratrooper, Psyops, military intelligence. I've conducted numerous.
We're gonna run this back, because one of the things I wanted to ask him if he came onto the show was, is there a way for him to corroborate or prove if these are truly his credentials? Only for those of you that may question it, and just so we know he's not saying something just to catch certain audiences like me. Because I'm gonna my attempts go up when I hear military, Psyop departments. I definitely want to hear what you have to say.
To be able to provide a feedback from an investigator.
Okay.
And if you're new here, I spent over a decade in the U.S. military, from everything from a combat paratrooper, Psyops, military intelligence. I've conducted numerous investigations, both state,
military intelligence as well,
and federally. And I wanted to be able to provide my opinion on what I think, not just over the debate, but the investigation as a whole.
Yep.
Let's get into it. All right. So before we dissect not just the debate, but also the Charlie Kirk case, let's find out what they were even debating.
The topic of discussion today, how this got prompted, is, Andrew, you said there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And Candace, your position was he's a patsy.
Now, did we just hear that? That is, one is arguing that there's overwhelming evidence, which should be Andrew Wilson's focus and purpose of being there, to prove that. Candace's position should be to defend her position that he's a patsy based on what she's seen and not seen. That sounds fair to me. Andrew Wilson came there to only focus on Candace's theories. You see the difference?
Robinson is a patsy. So, of course, we'll talk about a lot of different things, but that's kind of how the whole thing got started.
Before we get into that, let's talk about the very beginning of it. Andrew opens up by reading his phone. Now, I was not actually watching my phone. I was listening to it while I was walking. And I could tell, I'm sure, as most of you, that he appeared very nervous. And if any of you have ever written a paper and you read it, it's easy, right? Because you wrote the paper. Now, when Andrew was reading off of his phone, it seemed like he was reading this for the very first time. And from a Psyop standpoint here, I'll go ahead and first talking point was he immediately brings up the Israel connection. Now, the debate is not over Israel. That's not part of the debate. And he said a few things, during this opening monologue, or whatever you want to call it, that stood out to me. Let's take a listen.
And okay, actually, we'll listen first, and then I'll tell you, because that was one of the things for me. But actually, I do need to address something really fast. I only saw a couple of people that said it. I was accused by a couple of people, but this is important because this is about integrity. Said that I stole this gentleman's talking points in my most recent video upload, not live, but video upload, which is absolutely absurd. That's not what I did. Yes, I said at the end of the video that I was going to try to contact this person. I did not take his talking points. What happened was I had already primed you all in my last live that from a 4-dimensional or 3 or 4-dimensional perspective, I was going to speak on it in another video. And I ended up leaving for vacation, and I ended up wanting to just drop a video because I realized it may end up being 2 days before I could drop again. So I wanted to, on this road trip, I was able to watch the video back. When I watched the video back, which was almost perfectly 4 hours long, I was able to catch certain things. And I have like a phone full of notes. I have so many videos to do, so many things to cover. And I'm going to try to figure out how to do that efficiently for you all. And I wanted to get that out to you all immediately. Remember, in my live from 2 days ago, prior to this video coming out, for the record, I mentioned all of these things, what I think the true purpose of this was, but I said I wasn't going to give it to you all in that video. So just for the record, I know most of you all don't need me to clarify that, but that is very important because this gentleman's video is very good as well. But when I watched his opening statement when I was on the road, I didn't almost wreck or anything, but I was like, bro, I want to pull over right now and record. I didn't catch that the first time the same way, because he usually reads from his phone in debates. So that wasn't unusual to me. He mentioned Israel. He mentioned Eric. He took this position of defending Erica, which is strange for Andrew Wilson, because Andrew Wilson is the guy who's overly critical of women, overly critical, radical about opinions about women. They're all retarded, all the things. And he thinks admitting that regardless of the room that he's in, adds to his credibility and his integrity. But it really doesn't. It makes him look more like a fool, especially if he's going to debate a woman and lose. All right. He mentioned Israel. He mentioned Erica. And he mentioned, it's one other thing as well. Oh, yeah, that's right. The text message from Charlie. That's what made me think even further. It wasn't TPUSA that paid him or sent him. Whether it's blackmail, financial gain, moving up the ranks of Freemasonry, because at the top of the ranks, it's a lot of that stuff is tied to other beliefs that isn't quite Judaism. All right. It's not the same thing as Judaism, but let's just say I wouldn't be shocked if Ben Shapiro is a part of the elite group of what I'm talking about that oversees Freemasonry. All right. I think a lot of you all catch my drift. Who would this fit more? Defend Erica, Zionism, defend Zionism, Charlie Kirk fighting against the left. Wait for it, because if it just stopped there, it could be TPUSA, it could be Daily Wire, or their overlords. Criticize Erica. Double down that you think that she's a retard. Double down that you think that all the people at TPUSA aren't good leaders. Now I'm looking and I'm saying, well, the fact that you're choosing to do both in the same interview, that is, go out your way multiple times. It's one thing to do it once or twice. 5 to 8, 9 times in this same debate, he went out of his way to circle back to defend Erica Kirk. That was strange. Why do you keep coming back to Erica, brother? What about the substance of this case? Why do you keep talking about Erica? Why did you specifically ask Candace? Okay, so let me just ask you this. Do you think in any way, shape, or form that Erica Kirk, TPUSA, or any of its affiliates either unalived Charlie Kirk or had foreknowledge about it? Why did you word that as if, I mean, that was like a legal question. That was weird. You know? That was very strange, brother. That fourth pillar that I just gave you of choosing to be extremely, brass about how retarded you still think Erica Kirk is, while also trying to defend her and defend the fact that she made the right decision coming from Andrew Wilson, that a woman, after her husband has been unalived in a particular seat, if I can speak, proverbial seat, she should replace him in that same dangerous seat that got him pow-powed, leave her children with no parents in this critical time in their life, their children, leave their children and take on this dangerous and extremely stressful position in corporate America. You believe that, Andrew Wilson? I said it wasn't TPUSA. I think the overlords did it. And by overlords, I just mean funders, backers, the people that they have to answer to, which I believe happen to be most likely are the same people that's behind the Daily Wire. Now it makes sense. That's where the $300,000 came from, allegedly. He can so boldly claim my $300,000 was well spent because I proved my point. No, you didn't prove anything, bro. You're going through the 5 stages of grief. You're in number 1, which is denial. I said it wasn't TPUSA. That's the easy answer. It was the people above them that does not care about the criticisms of Erica. Ben Shapiro came out defending Erica. immediately. That was weird. Why do you care so much about Erica? Why are you going to Megyn Kelly's show talking about Erica? That's weird. 2, he's all of a sudden saying the left did. I'm going to pick up this bloody microphone. That's weird. But let's continue.
I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this, okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me.
All right. When he said that, it was a huge kick in the chest for me. And it was because almost like I knew what was going on at that point, you know, almost kind of similar to this morning when I woke up and checked Google. There was an article that kind of took the breath out of me as well. And I'll go over that here in a little bit later. But I mean, you got to look at how a Psyop works. It's very similar to marketing, right? In order to make the change you want to change, you have to know who your target audience is. Who, you know, if you're an iPhone user, your target audience is probably, you know, somebody that bought the previous model, right? So, you know, spoiler alert, we are their target audience. The fact that we listened to that yesterday, we are their target audience, and they're trying to make some sort of change. Now, what is that change? I mean, you could, you know, draw your own opinion, but he's mentioning that Charlie Kirk sent a message on the 9th saying that he believed the left was coming after him. Now, what narrative are they trying to change there? I'll let you come to that decision yourself. But to me, again, we are that target audience. And then you have to find out how they receive information. Well, how did we used to receive information? Through CNN, through Fox News, you know, through all these other networks that nobody no longer trusts, right? We do not trust those news outlets. We get our information from podcasters now, right? Joe Rogan's, Tucker Carlson's, Candace Owens, you know, Andrew Wilson, whoever you see fit, you receive information. But just the fact that we listened to that yesterday, somebody was trying to, and even today, you're listening to this, right? You're being influenced by what you hear.
Bingo.
And that was kind of just a, you know, wake-up call at the very beginning of the debate. Like,
but it wasn't just that, brother. To take it a step further, what made it even worse is that it's one thing to state that in the opening statement, which is what he did. And I was like, when I watched it back on the way on the road trip I took yesterday, I'm listening to it, and it's a little different when you're not looking at the phone the entire time because you're looking at the road and you're listening. And I said, why did he say it like that? Let me rewind it and let me just try to glance at him when he said it. And I glanced at the phone. I saw how he said, I was like, Andrew Wilson didn't write this. Not only is he read it like it's like he's reading text messages that were sent to him, but he said that like that was the ultimate mic drop. Like he wanted to get up and leave at that point. Like that he was concerned that the left was going to unalive him. Looking at Candace, looking at PBD, looking at Candace, like his demeanor, his bravado, you know, was like, what now? Didn't see that coming, did you? I'm thinking to myself, bro, that's not a bombshell at all for multiple reasons. Even like, let me sound like Andrew a little bit. Let's concede that point. Let's just give you that. Let's grant you that, as he said multiple times. Let's grant you that. First and foremost, why would Charlie Kirk say that? Now we have to ask why he would say it. Does he sleep with the leftist at nighttime? That being his wife? Is she a leftist? Does he share a house with leftists? Does he share? The point is, what was so important about the night before? Because there were other things going on in Charlie's life, remember? What was so important about the night before where he all of a sudden felt like the left? I've already showed the clip earlier in today's live. He literally wasn't sweating him at all. Unfortunately for you, we have Charlie on video last year stating that, right? And so even though the video was posted September the 12th, obviously he couldn't have done it post September 10th. But we know it had to have been in recent years because he did it with Grant Cardone. What was so important about the night before he randomly just said something about the left? Really? Really? So it wasn't the fact just that he admitted this. It's the fact that he admitted it, said it as if that was the biggest mic drop bombshell announcement of all time. He was ready to leave out. He defeated Candace and everybody else who questions the narrative, to then go on and never mention it again. A lot of people giving PBD a lot of pushback. I thought it was very hilarious. Some people called him useless. But to call another human useless is so crazy to me. It's like telling somebody they have a face for radio. I've never heard that before. That's what somebody told Brian the auditor the other day. And I'm like, that is so mean to tell somebody you have a face for radio. That's wild. But the point that I'm getting at here is, if it was such a big bombshell, number one, why didn't you immediately show it? You would at least put Candace on her back feet, right? On her heels. Let me ask questions about this. Didn't see this coming. Not only did you not do that, but it had to be pulled out of you. Shout out to PBD. He did do that. Give credit where it's due. Don't really care for him. Don't necessarily dislike him. Just don't care for him. PBD was the person to ask the question, what percentage do you think Tyler Robinson took out Charlie? If he didn't ask that question, we wouldn't have got the infamous 75 to 85%, which completely discredits him. There is room for reasonable doubt, doofus. It's over with, bro. It's over with. You need to be 100% convinced to put a person to death. Not to mention that you don't even know what the charges are. To believe that there's overwhelming evidence. Overwhelming evidence of what, brother? It matters. They could be charging him for larceny. Is there overwhelming evidence that he committed larceny? How about armed robbery? Strong armed robbery, weak armed robbery. Any of it. You got to know what the charges are to believe if it's overwhelming evidence to support it. You not only didn't mention it the rest of the entire 4 hours you were there, but then when you were pressed about it, once again by PBD, shout out to him, he was the one that mentioned it. Candace piggybacked and was like, yeah, I think now's the perfect time to show it to us. For him to then contradict himself and say, well, I think I'm going to drip it out. I'm going to show it on my show. Huh? Bro, here's your big moment to expose Candace and the rest of us. Do it right now with 225,000 people watching live. This is, bro, you think you a Freemason and going through a human, bro, you a really shoot off. You chose not to do it because you don't have it. I'm gonna do it on my show. And then they ask you why. He goes, well, he was so nervous when he said this. You gotta drip it out. You gotta drip it out, right? Drip out the evidence slowly. Keep them coming back for more, right? No, wrong. That makes no sense. That is why you're here right now. Remember, you paid $300,000 for this very thing. Why didn't you do it? Weird. So it's the fact that he chose to announce it in the opening statement to then never mention it again. Weird.
He mentions that at the very beginning. He didn't wait till the end. Maybe he would have forgot. No, he shows what is the most important to him at the very beginning. I don't know. That says something to me. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. And I'm not going to recreate their video. If you want to watch their video, it's linked down below. Please go check it out. You definitely need to listen to it. I'm here to provide feedback from an investigative standpoint and try to fill the gaps of what was not said and what I thought I would add to the debate. Now, again, Andrew's debating overwhelming amount of evidence. Candace is debating that she believes Tyler Robinson's a patsy. This debate realistically was only an hour and a half, and that's including in the breaks and whatnot. But more seriously, this probably debate was only 20, 30 minutes, if that. They only got to really two parts of the investigation, one of those being the DNA. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what Candace Owens says.
Where she said that when you're using those mixtures and those samples and you get up to 5+, it's really hard to make any sort of a determination. So both of those things are relevant. If you can't explain why his prints are the most degraded and you're saying he is the shooter, it's not really a so what. It's an open-ended question that people have a right to pursue. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually proof of my claim that there's evidence that he was set up as a patsy.
All right. So I'm sure most of you would agree that parts of this debate were very difficult to listen to because at some parts they were almost agreeing on the same thing. But then Candace Owens, I mean, she's like way up here, right? She's
totally agree. Candace Owens, listen, two-dimensional perspective. She is a heavyweight. She's a heavyweight. This woman is elite at what she does, bro. Like, I don't care what disagreements, discrepancies, suspicions has been. She's a heavyweight. You give credit where it's due. It's not easy to dismantle these types of people in the manner that she's doing it. It's just not. I've debated people in real life prior to being a YouTuber. I debated people on YouTube in front of y'all, and I think I do all right. There's a different level, bro. There's levels to this. There's levels to this. And I want to state and give her credit from this perspective as well. Andrew Wilson was sent by TPUSA / Daily Wire overlords, in my opinion, allegedly, was sent by them in order to infiltrate this space, get in front of this audience. Otherwise, because they're not going to watch the Charlie Kirk show anymore, right? They're not going to watch that show anymore. If they go live, they might have 100 people that watch. So where are all these thousands of people coming from defending them all over the internet? That makes no sense, right? How do you have thousands of bots, accounts defending you under all these different videos and live chats? Candace is demonic and she's possessed and you destroyed her, all under his live stream video today. A bunch of them, super chats and everything. But when the Charlie Kirk show goes live, you got 150 people watching. How does that work? How is that possible? Where are all these supporters at? Right? But dang, I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought for digressing. But anyways, like Andrew, I don't even remember. I'll have to come back. I don't even remember. Maybe if I play them back a little bit, I'll remember. Oh, that's what it was. I remember now. You give credit where it's due. I believe that Andrew Wilson was sent by the overlords, the funders, the backers, the deep state who places these types of individuals on the right in front of us so that they can infiltrate this space, because otherwise they wouldn't have access to these people because many of us are not going to watch their platforms, follow their channels. So this is how they do it. They send somebody who's been critical of TPUSA, critical of Erica, critical of women. So surely he's not paid. He don't even like them. He said mean things about them. This should allow us to send in this Trojan horse. Now that we've infiltrated this space of hundreds of thousands of people, we have access to all of you. Let us share this information about the text message. You give credit where it's due to Candace. Candace Owens responds so well that I sat back and said, Candace Owens wanted to get in front of your audience. And by your audience, I don't just mean Andrew Wilson's. I mean the funders, the overlords, the Ben Shapiro's, their audience. She wanted an opportunity to get in front of them because many of them won't even watch her for a plethora of different reasons. Now that I have your attention, so she flipped it. Now that I have your attention, let's talk about all these holes and inconsistencies and irregularities and red flags and unanswered questions and blurry images and videos that y'all are calling overwhelming. You want to talk about that? She reached way more people in that crowd which is a much smaller number, by the way, than Andrew Wilson reached in the other crowd, which is a much larger number. That's very impressive. She's playing chess, man, and they're playing checkers.
If you're thinking it, she's probably already 2 or 3 steps higher than you.
Very well said.
But what she's arguing here is the DNA. Why is Tyler Robinson's DNA the most degraded on the rifle, right? So her argument, obviously, is you cannot prove that he conducted the shot based off DNA. She's poking holes in the story, right? Which means if he did not commit the aggravated murder, then essentially he's a patsy. But for whatever reason, Andrew was not picking up on this, right? Let's go ahead and take a listen to what Andrew said.
That wouldn't prove anything about him being a patsy.
It said it's evidence to support the claim that he could have been set up as a patsy.
So this is why I said earlier, so what? Because even if it's the case, this doesn't have an explanation for it yet.
I have to say this, and you gotta, if people get annoyed with me constantly pausing, then I mean, this is a reaction video. You know what I'm saying? I can't just play this brother's content and just get credit for it. This is important. I know this has probably been stated somewhere at some point in time by somebody, but this needs to be said, especially I got to make sure that just in case somebody's watching right now that hadn't heard this yet, there is something to be said, and I would even go as far to say it's frightening. And I mean every bit of that word. I'm an adult man, right? Men don't say, you know, I only fear God. But that don't mean that I'm going to turn my back on a very known schizophrenic who is known for stabbing people. I'm gonna be cautious. This person, you need to be cautious around people like him. What do I mean? Andrew Wilson has mastered the ability to lie or to get caught in a lie or to get trumped or stumped like he did at the end of the debate when asked about the 7 charges, but to pivot really fast or to keep this facial expression. But here's the biggest thing you have to pay attention to this. It's the inflections in his voice that will typically communicate to people that his confidence has not swayed. He has mastered it. If you have a trained ear, you can catch the inflections where it's not so confident. He'll use terms like, oh, so wait, hold up a sec. Okay, so hold on now. Or he'll say, so that's why I said earlier. Or he'll say something like, I'll concede. You know, let's just concede that. Like he was saying that he'll concede one of the things that was in the charging documents. There's nothing to concede, bro. It's literally there. He was like, well, and it was mentioned in the preliminary hearing. He was like, well, I'll concede. Candace like, there's nothing to concede, bro. He said, well, we haven't went to trial yet. What do we need to go to trial to substantiate a fact that's been shared in the preliminary hearing? Is a fact going to change once the trial starts? No, it's still a fact. If it's a fact now, it's going to be a fact then. Just like when your wife said 15 years ago, which I actually believe is 14 years ago, whenever, that you were an Army sniper. You number one said that you never said that, which, by the way, I have video footage of you clearly saying that you were in the Army. Then you retracted in another debate and said that you were never in the Army or military. You said that yourself. It's the same thing like when she said that 15 years ago, your response to Candace was like, that's something she said 15 years ago. Candace like, okay, is it no longer true because she said it so long ago? Like, what does that mean? If she said that you were once an Army sniper 15 years ago, does that fact change 15 years later that you were once in the Army? No, it doesn't change. It's like that, stating things like that so confidently, right? You have to pay attention to it because that's also a strategy. Because he understands the internet. People are going to clip it, and if for nothing else, he wants it to appear that he's not under pressure. He wants it to appear that he's not defeated. In some ways, I admire it because it's almost like the mind of a soldier, like quite literal soldier, right? Whether you're in the streets committing illegal activity or a soldier for your country, for your nation, right? You're taught the way you're taught to be a soldier is to just fight through it. Never see them, never allow the public to see you break. Except his comes off as a bit delusional, because even when he's wrong, he'll double down in his wrong, even if you stump him on a point. Clearly, he knows, his opponent knows, the audience knows, all right, fine, you just took an L right here. It's not the end of the world, but you took an L right here. He'll pretend that it didn't happen. That's weird. And that's a little, I want to stay away from people like that, because people like that will participate in very violent type events and pretend events that sometimes end in the result or result in the ending of a life of a human. And he will keep his composure, smoke his cig, and continue on with his life like normal. You got to watch people like this. He's dangerous, man, because the way he's trained himself to ignore reality. He's all on social media the past 2 days lying, talking about how he gave himself a 7 out of 10 for the debate, gave Candace a 3 out of 10, says that she got a small gotcha at the very end, but it wasn't even a really good one. Dog, what? You don't even know what the man's being charged with. Not one of the charges, bro. Then you thought you had her with a gotcha. She named all 7 in order. Dog, what are you doing?
That doesn't actually give you any evidence in your corner for Tyler Robinson being a patsy.
It literally does, though. It literally does.
Okay.
All right. So again, Andrew's essentially mentioning, okay, who cares if the DNA is degraded and Tyler Robinson's is not the most prominent DNA on this rifle? You know, so what? Still doesn't prove that he's a patsy. But I think what Candace Owens is doing here, in fact, I know what Candace Owens is doing here. This is just one piece of the puzzle, right? If she could poke holes in this story and prove that, which it's not her burden to prove, right? It's the defense. She's doing this because she deeply cares about this. But if, you know, it's proven that Tyler Robinson did not commit this aggravated murder, then by default, it would make him a patsy.
Bingo.
Would it not? I mean, why else would the DOJ bring all this overwhelming amount of evidence to try an innocent guy, right? It would therefore make him a patsy.
Literally, by definition. Hey, I have some breaking news, everybody. Well, I shouldn't say breaking news like it's that big of a deal. The live stream that I mentioned earlier, the tweet that I put out that I showed you all and read earlier, it's gaining some traction over on Twitter. I don't know if that's the reason. I doubt that's the reason. I don't have that much reach or clout. But I do find it interesting that Andrew Wilson, someone just quoted that tweet of mine, and they said, oh, and by the way, he already deleted the stream. I was like, no way. I went over to his channel. He deleted the live stream already. He just did the live stream not even 3 hours ago, everybody. He's already deleted it. I told you all the things that he was doing to make sure he gets subscribers and views. You can't rewind it while he's live, which forces people to go back and watch it from the beginning if they want to know what he said or at what point in the video he shared the text so that they can find it. Just so he can reveal in the live video that he's no longer going to share it until Friday, along with other evidence. And if you try to comment like other people had already done after they subscribed to do it, they was like, man, just drop the text messages, bro. You know why most of us are here. 10, 11,000 of us in the building. You know why we're here. But once you attempt to do it, you can't do it unless you've been a subscriber for at least 20 minutes. I've never heard of that before. He deleted it. The live stream is gone.
And Candace Owens kind of seen through this. She started realizing, okay, well, let's try to find out from him what makes it so overwhelming. So she mentions, you know, a post that he posted on his Twitter account. Let's take a look.
Somebody said, so give me the clear evidence right here. I want you to provide it right here. All I heard from the investigator was, we believe this to be Tyler Robinson. Is belief something you go as a fact? You wrote the car pulling in. That's a totally blurry image. Robinson getting out of it. You have no idea if that's Tyler Robinson. The
He disagreeing with every point because it's true. Hey, yo, dismantling. And that's literally how I would have said it. That's what's so funny. I have to admit, like, that's literally my approach. I would have said the car pulling in. What car? How do you know it's Tyler Robinson's? Robinson getting out of it. How do you know that that's Tyler Robinson? You literally don't know. So I've already dismantled two of the things that you call evidence. It's not. You don't know. The fact that he is seen 4 other times on camera, that's not been verified. It's not been verified that that's Tyler Robinson. Where's a clear image of his face, bro? We don't know. Gray and white Converse shoes does not make it Tyler Robinson. It makes it somebody that has shoes like him. Where's the clear footage? There's all these 4K cameras on the campus. They couldn't give us at least one during the preliminary hearing. It's not a flex that they let us show it during the trial. Why did you not show this by this point in time? He's just agreeing so far.
fact that he is seen 4 other times on camera, the fact being just a standard white boy with brown hair was seen walking up staircase.
He agreed again.
The DNA on the roof, we should discuss that. And on the screwdriver that he left behind, it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, but that's not an exhaustive list.
All right, so here what Candace is essentially doing is she's utilizing a ex post that Andrew Wilson, submitted of why he thinks that Tyler Robinson committed this. Now, I don't think Candace Owens really had to go in this far into depth. I think Andrew was kind of, debating him against himself most of the time. But essentially, we can paraphrase it. He believes what has been put out. He believes this. It started off with the surveillance video, right? And while we're on that subject, I started this YouTube channel, and I can get on my soapbox because I only have 25 subscribers here. I started this YouTube channel.
Not anymore, good buddy, and especially not after this live stream, man. You had almost 10,000, bro. Well deserved after this video.
To prove to people using my investigative background that Tyler Robinson could have committed this crime. It started with trying to prove that Tyler Robinson did this. And I started off with all the media that was posted, which I don't have any social media besides YouTube. So it started off with me utilizing those Ring doorbell cameras that came out. You remember that? And if you watch my very first video, I map it out. Could Tyler Robinson have been here at this time, at this place, and then polished and changed? Right. I went so in depth. I even found where he most likely polished that. You can watch that first video. And in conclusion, at the end of the video, I said that it was possible that Tyler Robinson could have committed this crime based off of what we know at this point, right?
Yeah, but I think many of us would have much more likely agreed that it's possible within like a month or two after everything happened, sure. But the longer time went by and I began to look at a lot of things like the behaviors of people and the investigation and the evidence that had been released and the weird behaviors and the backtracking. No, bro. I was like, something else is going on here. And for me, it went from, dang, this is so sad, to 2, I'm a little suspicious, to 3, I think it's a cover-up, 4, they set up Charlie, to now I went a step further, and I mostly believe that, yes, I still partially believe that he could be deceased, but I am mostly convinced that Charlie's alive. And I know that sounds absurd to a lot of people. It sounds like I'm just trying to be different or nope. I've explained this extensively in several videos dating back to October, by the way.
Except that he would have had to been trained because he's not trained in tradecraft, right? And go watch that video. I'm not going to go into too much depth with that. But then my second video, I started realizing that all the surveillance footage that I was receiving from the media was flawed. And when I mean flawed, I mean they were all coming from not just the same area, they were all coming from the same family. And that was very shocking. So I knew at that point on my second video, go check it out once you finish this video, that we had been fed a lie from day one, from the Psyop from day one. And that is what got me super interested in this case. Now, after watching yesterday's video, I haven't posted since then. I had to post another video because to me, this is strange. You have another guy coming in paying $300,000 to be able to debate Candace Owens. Now, I don't think this was ever about the debate.
Agreed.
Win or lose, this was never about the debate. In fact, if you watch this video, especially the second half of this podcast, you'll realize what this video is actually about. But let's go back. Surveillance video, right? He believes that the grainy surveillance video, the vehicle pulling up, all those pieces together, he can come to the conclusion that there's enough probable cause to believe that Tyler Robson did it. Now, I don't blame him for believing this. Okay, maybe that is enough evidence for him, but it's hard to realize how much evidence is not being submitted. And that's what I'm here for. That's what this video is here for. All right. So the next few videos, what we're going to see here is why he believes the surveillance video, not just the fact that he believes that is Tyler Robinson because of the shoes that he was wearing, but also because of the statement that Twix mentions that it could possibly be him. And let's take a listen to those videos.
Twigs himself said that he
You're
had
gonna see me on the staircase?
that he had some maybe a tiny bit of doubt, but it sure looked like Tyler Robinson inside of this various surveillance footage that he saw.
So Lance, sorry.
Hang on. So there's multiple reasons why it is that I believe that that's Tyler Robinson, not just because of blurry footage.
Okay.
So if you're asking for my inference why I think it's Tyler Robinson, is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus.
So what's your position here?
Yeah. So my position is that based on all of the evidence, which has been demonstrated, at least all the evidence to my knowledge, that I am actually not seeing anything that's compelling as an alternative theory. I'm not seeing anything which is convincing me of something otherwise than what the state is presenting as evidence. That's my position.
Okay.
That's what
All right. So I showed you those videos to show you that Andrew's standpoint is he believes the DNA. He believes the blurry photos with the vehicle, the shoes that identified him, and Twix stating that it believes he believes that is Tyler Robinson. And the text message confession of Tyler Robinson saying he's on campus and he's seen on surveillance video. Now, Candace Owens, quite the opposite. She believes that the evidence, there's holes in it. She believes the surveillance video, you cannot tell. Obviously, Twix was not 100% on the video evidence, and he just mentioned that he wears Converse. Like, you cannot prove that it's him based off his shoes, but yet that is a tool, right? I'm not saying that you can't do that. That is one piece of the puzzle. But, and then what else? We have text messages. Candace Owens essentially mentioning she doesn't believe that because you can send a text message through anyone's phone. And can we get the GPS coordinates of, if it is him, of where he sent it? All valid questions. In fact, I would say Candace Owens' intuition as an investigator is crazy good. In fact, from not coming from an investigative background, amazing.
Agreed.
Right? As an investigative journalist, crazy good.
Agreed.
But let's break this down. If you were to hand this investigation to me tomorrow or today, what would I do?
I'm going to listen to just this part. I'm going to cut the video off. I don't want to watch all of his video so that you all can go over there and check out the rest of it and give him some credit. But I'm going to listen to this last part, and then I'll give my final thoughts.
All right. So again, this is not an exhaustive list, but hopefully it will help fill some of the gaps. Now, the DOJ might have done some of these things that I'm mentioning, but if they did not, it would raise huge flags, especially when we come to trial. If this is not there, this would raise some big flags for me. So the vehicle, as we know, in Utah, there's probably thousands of flock cameras. There's without a doubt that he had to scan, more than 5 flock cameras. I would notate all the times of every time that guy passed flock, right? Every time that vehicle passed flock. Now, again, just because his vehicle was observed on campus going to the parking garage, just because his vehicle was observed by a neighbor, whatever the case, doesn't necessarily mean that Tyler Robinson was inside that vehicle at that time. That is the burden that the prosecutors will have to prove, which this is no different than any crime that is committed in big cities. You have a robbery suspect that hits a business, and you identify the vehicle. It is still just because it doesn't necessarily mean the registered owner committed that crime. It is your job as a detective, as an investigator, to be able to find out exactly who it was inside that vehicle, right? There are checks and balances to investigations. All right. So once I have all those times, now I would try to find every surveillance video.
Okay, I'm gonna just stop it there. Like I don't feel like it's right to just watch this entire video. These are my final thoughts with this, and I think this I know people, again, they know I mentioned Freemasonry quite a bit. We have the guy admitting himself that he's a Freemason, but let me tell you all why this is important. So Andrew Wilson, part of the reason I also believe that this is proof that he's going through a ritual, and either knowingly or unknowingly he's going through a ritual. Think about this. He pays someone, which, by the way, and if you all don't know this, in fraternities and sororities, which is low-level Freemasonry, and it also happens in Freemasonry as well, by the way. But let's keep this on a more surface level. So let's talk about fraternities and sororities. They have something called above ground and underground rituals. They sometimes, or many times throughout these fraternities and sororities, what they'll do is they'll bring in a new member who really wants to be a part of the club, who really wants to move up the ranks. What they'll do is they'll use this person. Remember, these people are students, so they still have classes to go to. So that's equal, or that's the equivalent to wanting to be a Freemason and move up the ranks. But you got work, and you have children, you have a family, you have a wife, all the things, right? You have certain requirements and certain things that you still have, certain obligations. What a lot of these students will do is they'll miss class, or they'll be asleep in class because they have to do certain rituals all night. They have to run errands for the people that's higher ranking in the fraternity, if they want to become a member and cross over into the fraternity. And that initiate has to pay their own money. That happens in fraternities all the time. Alphas, Q dogs, all these people, right? They have to pay for their own humiliation. Andrew Wilson is doing that here. But not only is he doing it here, which is, to me, based on just my eyes and how I have seen these things over the years, how I'm seeing this play out, this tells me that I believe he knows that it's a ritual. I think he knows that he's being humiliated on purpose, and he has to go through this. We've talked about what the crucible means, right? With the metals and the forming and the mixing of metals. We've talked about this, which is the name of his YouTube channel, The Crucible, right? A very, very particular intentional name to title your YouTube channel, The Crucible. Google what a crucible is, and look up its ties to Freemasonry. Andrew Wilson, what confirmed to me that he knows that it's a humiliation ritual and he's knowingly participating in it, is his very tone deaf, absurd, absolute absurd tweets and posts that you have people looking around like I really do genuinely mean this. Are you okay? Because it's very clear that you not only lost this, you didn't prove anything other than what existed before you came. You said, well, she didn't provide any pieces of evidence. No, Candace Owens did what she's been doing for the past 11 months. If you thought she had no evidence before, what's the purpose of coming on? Just so people can see what they could have already seen on her channel? What we're calling evidence, you say it's not evidence. Fine, bro. Let's talk about the actual case. Why are you pretending that Candace Owens is the judge? that's getting ready to prosecute somebody with no evidence. That's not what's happening. Candace Owens is a podcaster, remember? You care so much what another podcaster think? Oh, because she's influencing people. Who cares? Tyler Robinson is the one that's locked up, and you believe that's all you should care about. You should be happy. It's not like he's free because of Candace. He's locked up. He's on trial. Candace is not his attorney. So why do you care so much about it? But what makes it even worse, Andrew Wilson is tweeting that he won decisively. But you should see some of his tweets. Let me see if I can go and find them. It's very strange how he's talking about it, because you could just pretend you won, but he's doing more than just pretending he won. He's very strange. Here, let me show y'all what I see right now. Because even though he just took his stream down, he's on Twitter tweeting. You can't make this up. So he says here, they all know it's BS. They feed it because they are smart and the right is retarded. This is why the love in the West wins. So let's see. So you see the crucible there, and that's all it says. With the red and black background, right? With his give, send, go pinned. Let's just read some of the things he said over the past 2 days. And that was nice. Self-evaluation, 7 out of 10. Let me zoom in. He's feeding the algorithm to just force more people to just humiliate him. He's like egging it on. He's participating in it. He's strangely participating. Self-evaluation, 7 out of 10 would have been a 7.5, but I see the point. There was minor brain fart at the end. So what prevented you from being a 10, Andrew? Owens, 3 out of 10. No evidence-based positions at all on alternative claims. No evidence at all. Robinson is a federal patsy. Mostly feelings and intuition. Lies. Just lies. Lies. Shifting the burden of proof is his strategy. By the way, this is what I was like, what is he doing here? By the way, all women are retarded is hilarious. Huh? Now I'm like, bro, is he on self-harm or watch right now? You all should know what I'm saying. Like, why is he tweeting these random miscellaneous thoughts? By the way, all women are retarded is hilarious. Why'd you say that though? How does one agree to pay $300,000 to debate a criminal case when they don't even know what the suspect is being charged with? What is that? Incredible question. Very humiliating. He chooses to bring attention to it. Says $300,000 was nothing to me to prove Candace had no evidence for any of her claims. She's not the one that's in court, bro. Poking holes and scrutinizing the actual trial, the actual substance or lack thereof of the evidence that's actually being presented in the preliminary hearing. It's what's important. He goes none, 0. Did you see any, Anna? I mostly hate the left because they take over all the places with perfect year-round temperatures. Comments are eating them alive. Eating them alive. He just keeps tweeting. When girls say they got the ick, I didn't understand what they meant until I saw Andrew Wilson. This is possibly the gayest statement a man has uttered on X. Really, bro? Says here, turns out people are far more likely to cooperate if you don't pretend without evidence for months they were involved in a French-Israel pow-pow plot. LOL. What? No, that shouldn't motivate you to provide evidence. What should motivate you is that Charlie Kirk is no longer here, right? People have questions. Help the people out, including folks that donated to your company, including people that work for your company, including friends and colleagues, right? Including funders. not the really big ones. Weird. Why are you participating in your own humiliation, bro? And then the fact that and let's prove that his live stream that I proved with the screenshot, I screenshotted it, proved it, that it absolutely is a real thing. It was a real live stream that took place not even 3 hours ago. Let's go to the Crucible. Says here, make sure you all can see it, and you can. Says the Crucible 13 hours ago. Well, that's not it. Let's click on that. 13 hours ago. Let's go to live. The most recent live is from 2 days ago, right? Which was his most recent live in a while. Prior to that, it was 4 months ago. And he only got this many because this is the actual debate I see. So the live stream he did 3 hours ago was scheduled for 5:30. He's already deleted it. I wonder what explanation he's going to give for doing it. Maybe he's giving an explanation. Let's go over here and see. Let's go to I'm on his Twitter. That's right. I just scrolled over here. He hasn't given one. Wild. Mind blown. Mind blown. All right. Let's get to some super chats, everybody. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Goes a long way. I would really appreciate it. Please check out some merch. I freaking forgot I was supposed to make a post yesterday. My merch team has been telling me to make a post because it helps get the merchandise out there, and I don't ever remember to do that stuff. Shoot. Okay. I'm telling y'all now, go check out the merch when you get a chance. By the way, I have some I think you're going to appreciate a couple of new shirts that you're going to see me wearing here pretty soon. Also, and I plan to make a post as well. So link to the Patreon is in the description if you're interested in extended videos, much like this one. Link is in the description to the Patreon and to the merch store. That's another way to support the work. As you know, I do this full time. So there's that. Appreciate you. I got a shirt that's coming. I got 2 shirts that's coming that's pretty cool, pretty unique. Let's get to some super chats, man. I appreciate you being a new member. Boom, boom, boom. Dope. Thank you. I at least try to put these on the screen even a little bit. Still learning what the jewels mean, but I appreciate y'all. Adriana, thank you for the $12. Great find on that Cardone video. First time I'm seeing that one. Speaks volumes directly from Charlie's mouth. Directly from his mouth. And it's the extended version. So if you see a clip, you know exactly where to get it from the source of Grant Cardone's channel, who once again is an open Scientologist, which is a massive problem that people at TPUSA, including Charlie, affiliated themselves so closely with a person like that. It's no problem with interacting with them and being cordial or even doing business. But it gets kind of tricky when you closely affiliating yourself with a person like that. Hey, Mr. Lane, good to see you. Shout out to Adrian Jones. Thank you for being a member for 11 months. Tatum is advertising his liquor with interviews too. That is absolutely correct. And that's not the first time he's done that. I mean, I've already showcased. He said that. I mean, dude was going off on people. It depends on the room he's in. Officer Tatum switches up fast. If he's in a room full of black folks and they upset him, he'll start using the N-word and threatening them and ready to fight. The internet is forever. Thank you for the $2. I cannot stand the angry black woman narrative. Yeah, crazy. Now, if the shoe fits where, let's be clear, it applies. Stereotypes stem from something. I just don't like the generality. All right, trying to say that all black women are like that or overwhelming. Nah, it applies to some black women for sure. But Candace Owens does not apply to her in no regard. No regard. No regard. Thank you for the $10. Vintage galore. Diddy Candace, Boy George. He might be involved with Jesuit cult. Saw him in Fred Todd interview that while he was going to this Catholic church to study Catholicism, he mentioned church was run by Jesuit. Yeah, we've discussed that before in the past. I can revisit that topic if many of you all are new to the channel, so you can get my thoughts on just some questions I've had about Candace's early career and George Farmer and his family and the school and the what is it called? It starts with a B. The group, the prestigious group that George Farmer is a part of, that is it's basically a fraternity. If that turns out to be accurate information, I want to be responsible about his dealings and upbringing. Heck yeah. Jesse on fire. What's up, man? Thank you for the $50. Big $50. Looking forward to our stream Wednesday, my guy. Great show tonight. Appreciate you. Yes, looking forward to that myself as well. Once again, Jesse on fire. He and I are going to be collabing. I got to catch one of his live streams and give him a super chat as well. I gotta like make sure I got my notification bell on for his channel. We're going to be collabing on the Charlie Kirk is Alive theory. He and I are probably he and I have probably been the loudest on believing that. And it's not always the easiest to be saying that in an audience full of people who agree that Charlie was set up, but they ain't went that far. And so you could easily turn people off with that. But I care about truth and I'm going to explore it. And I've already explored it and it's very convincing and compelling to me. And I'm willing to have that conversation with anybody, by the way. So shout out to Jesse on fire. I'm definitely looking forward to it, bro. I have quite a few notes and ready to get into some things with you for sure. Gina, what's up, Gina? Good to see you. Thank you for the $10. I'm late and just at the beginning, but wanted to say much love and many prayers, especially after seeing Possessing Eric Curry for all of us. Thanks, Didi. You're the best. Thank you so much, Gina. Heck yeah. You heard what she said. Hit that like button, everybody. Y'all playing. Maybe I should make Gina my moderator. What do y'all think? Y'all, if Gina's open to it, maybe we can make Gina. I'm gonna get 2 moderators. There's another young lady I believe named Rain. She's emailed me actually again about being a moderator. If y'all are open to doing that, I'll definitely assign both of you all to it. I'd love to, because I trust the both of you. Let's see. Thank you for the $5. Didi, I get it, but you can't put us all veterans under a microscope, please. Lots going on, but it's starting to hurt veterans. Wait, what do you mean? In what way? I don't put all veterans under a microscope. Oh, you meant like just my military statement? I don't believe that everybody in the military is bad. I don't believe that. I believe that the overwhelming majority in the military is the opposite, actually. And by bad, I just mean intelligence working to the detriment of society. I do not believe that. I believe that majority of the military are regular people that want to just take care of their families. And I don't doubt that you are as well, brother. Latasha, thank you. Latasha Evans, thank you for the $5. Charlie and Erica were beefing on the 9th. Divorce talk was on the air. That's why the pastors were called. Yeah, I haven't delved much into their personal relationship on this channel, but it has been very compelling, I have to say. Is there a channel in particular y'all will point me to, or a video? I don't have time to like do multiple channels. I'm struggling to make time for other things in my personal life. So if there's a video of somebody who's covered that whole timeline of their relationship, please email that to me. This is where I'm supposed to cue the email on the screen. Please email me that. That would be very helpful, because I love to see some sort of exhaustive, video of all that information so I can follow it. Okay. Shout out to Latasha as well. Once again, thank you for the $5. Let's talk about the text that he sent stating, "I think this is over." He was talking about his marriage in my humble opinion. Wait, when was that? Is that something Candace shared? When did he say this is over? I think this is over. Y'all got to send that to me. Send that to me, because that's actually very compelling. In my humble opinion, yeah, we got to talk about that. Shout out to Gina again. Thank you for the $10. I love when you go deep with the information, Didi. This video is definitely one of them. Very informative, great work. I'm going to spread it as far and wide as possible. Stay safe. Don't worry. Thank you so much for your kind words. Don't worry. I'm a follower of Christ. I fall short of the glory of God. I have a long way to go. I have a lot of work to do. I fall short every day. But as it's been said, we're just here in a blip of time, for just a blip. This is not eternity. We're supposed to leave here someday. So I don't walk in fear. I'm safe, I'm careful, but no need to fear. Cornell, thank you for the $10. Everything you've been saying about the Masonic Order is true. It takes a lot of spiritual guts to do what you're doing, but God will show you someday how wonderful what you did really was. Thank you. I appreciate that big time. Heck yeah, I agree. Thank you for the $5. Unless I got it wrong, Lance testified that Tyler Robinson engraved the bullets a month prior. Was Tyler Robinson planning this for a month or more? Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a great question. I'm not so sure if he stated that, because sometimes you gotta just be able to clarify what's what, what's real and what's not with these things, because it gets tricky. It gets tricky with what's in the actual charging documents, what's in the actual mentioned in the preliminary hearings as hearsay, and what's just on the internet. So I'm not sure. Great question, though. Maybe the audience, somebody can hop in the comment section and share. Thank you for the, I guess, 1,000 joules. Thank you. All righty, y'all. I'm tired, man. I don't want to make this too long. Once again, send that over to me. Somebody said that was Lance's testimony, but Charlie Kirk's event wasn't planned until later. Okay. Heck yeah. Somebody called me Didi Got. Thank you so much. The name is Didi. I got a podcast, but thank you so much. Appreciate it. Amen. We all fall short, Melinda. I agree. We're only human. Keep it the good work, though. Amen. Hey, God bless y'all, man. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit the like button. That goes a long way. That helps the channel. Helps somebody who hasn't seen the channel, hasn't seen the videos, be able to actually have access to the channel and to fight over the shadow ban. I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I'm tired. Like I told y'all, I just got back and I wanted to hop on here and talk with y'all, man. I'm tired. Y'all probably can see it in my eyes. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one, man. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
Oh, yeah. Didi got a podcast.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate of UCA. And his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly.
No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright. No such thing. Come on, you can do better than that. Talk to it. Talk to it. Alright, let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours.
You're worse than the rich white people who are, or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you?
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.